Did I do this?
That is pretty good. It's live.
Oh,
It's
guys.
live.
Chat, it's live.
No.
All right,
Chat, talk.
Camera's a little here. Oh, what the? Okay, well.
All right.
Okay, that makes fucking
That
sense.
makes
Okay,
good.
we saw Altar.
Yay!
Thanks, man. TikTok streamer. All right. Hey guys, it's Teddy, and welcome back to Road to Regionals Volume 2. So sorry that I've been late on this. I've just been working really late, and I'm honestly really tired, but I really wanted to vlog, especially because my treasure cups were this weekend. I didn't really have a chance to recap, so I'm really excited to go through it with you guys. Before we get into it, I know that some of my viewers don't play a lot of One Piece. So first off, thanks for watching. Second off, a store treasure cup is just a smaller version of One Piece's treasure cup, which is, just like a big tournament with prizing that has special prize cards, in this case, the OP13 Sabo. And that's given to first place. And then they often have smaller prizes for top 4, top 8, etc. I really like going to these because they're a bit more competitive than your regular local. The pricing is a little better, often worth a lot more, especially at the first few. Once it's done, it's done. You never see those cards again. So it's pretty exciting to go out and compete and try to win a cool prize card. Now you could do these for online treasure cups or even online regionals, but I really just don't like playing in online tournaments because I just want to hang out with people. I want to be able to talk to somebody across the table as I'm playing a card game. And if I'm going to be at the comfort of my own home looking at a photo of Barrier and my deck list on the sim, I would prefer to do that or, hang out with my girlfriend and my cats or literally anything else other than play a card game, right? Onlines don't really do it for me, and that's okay. I know a lot of people find enjoyment in playing webcam, and that's totally fine too. So before we get into the events, let's talk about the deck list because I think I found the best 50. And by I found, I mean newbie in I think it was the Taiwan 3v3. I know he also won the Singapore 1v1, but I think he changed one card to a VV in that list. But the Taiwan list got super popular in the West. It won the Edinburgh Regional, it won the Edinburgh Treasure Cup, and I think it also got second at the Edinburgh Regional. And then if you look at the Chinose Cup, it also got top 4. 3 out of the 4, which were all Emu, by the way, ran the same 50. So Charlos Blocker, one GARP event, seems to be the play. Seems consistent. I like it a lot. And I took it to locals on Thursday, where I proceeded to get humbled. I won my first 2 games in the Emu Mirror and Ace. I won both die rolls, and they went about as you've expected. I feel like as I've been running the games, it's going to get a little shorter as I describe them because there just isn't as much variance as I can recall in my first few games on Emu. But in the 3rd game, I lost my first dice roll, and it all went downhill from there. There was a really pivotal turn where I think I tried to chase my opponent's rested Saturn with a Mars and a Saturn. It was 2 5Ks, and my opponent double rad beamed, and I just lost on the crackback because then they proceeded to drop their own Jupiter, swing 7K at my bodies, and all I had was bricks. So, it happens. Sometimes you explode, and that's exactly what I did in round 4 as well. I lost the die roll against Zoro, and I got high rolled. I don't know what else to say. I think I put the YouTube video up. It was like 8 minutes long, including my commentary. I know it sped up a little bit, but it was a crazy match. I know I searched a couple things that I shouldn't have, and I just didn't have enough counter to survive. And my takeaway from that game was that I really just need one turn to stabilize versus Zoro, and then I can just spam my 10 drop, play out all my elders, and just hang out. Search your rad beams, have them ready, leave a bunch of Dawn up for DMG in case, and clear board when you can. I think my 2 losses definitely deserved. I did have the advantage going first, to be honest, in the Emu Mirror. I was able to pop my opponent's first Saturn with playing Mars on 5. I low-key think it's kind of a bait because you go so negative in hand. I guess having more bodies on board is nice. You just kind of need the momentum and to be able to push through because you will be taking some hits, since you won't have any Dawn up for counter events. I'm pretty happy with the performance. I think, again, I've been winning way too many die roll. I need to be humbled really quickly, and damn, was I humbled quickly, especially in the Zoro game. So can't be too mad about that. Some good practice going into Saturday. Now on Saturday, I played in a treasure cup. There were 29 people, and we only went for 4 rounds because the down pairs lost rounds 3 and 4. Basically, for those who don't play in Swiss, if you play in a Swiss tournament, you only need to play until there's 1 undefeated person. Now, because of odd numbers or maybe weird number of participants, there could be rounds where there could be 3 or 5 or 7 undefeated people. And so the odd numbered undefeated person could get down paired with somebody who's already lost once. We call them X1s. The X1 beat the undefeated person in round 3 and then again in round 4 to end the tournament. There was only 1 undefeated at the end of round 4, and I ended up getting 6th place out of 8. I played round 1 mirror. I won the die roll, and I just honestly was able to protect my bodies better than my opponent. I learned a lot from losing the die roll and not having Dawn up to protect my own bodies with rad beams, and I think I was generally able to just find more pieces. Round 2, I played against Ace, and man did he drop a lot of blocker beards. I was terrified and it was awful. I ended up losing the die roll and subsequently losing because I couldn't handle a Roger. I think there was a turn where I swung into a free block with my Nustro. That may have been a mistake, or it was absolutely a mistake, excuse me. And outside of that, I mean, it's really hard when Ace sees their perfect curve and they're able to play out all of their blocker beards. So pretty scary. It happens. I feel pretty good about my play, and I was talking with Win at the end, my opponent, and he also felt that I played it as well as I could have outside of that Nustro swing, maybe an extra Nustro swing to make it a little closer, squeak out a card or two, but there was no way that I was winning that game. It was also the first game where I had my last Gorosei as my last life. So I was counting my deck and I realized that I was missing 1 5 Elders at 3 life. I think I had 3 life. And I went, okay, I'll just take this hit. Hopefully it's the Gorosei. It wasn't. I'm sitting at 2. I'm going to die to all these Whitebeards on board. May as well just take the life. Have some extra bodies on board. Maybe my opponent is super bricked up. That didn't happen. I took the next hit. It wasn't the 5 Elders. I took the last hit. It was the 5 Elders, but at that point I was just dying to Roger. So interesting play pattern that you need to play around. I think I didn't use Shirahoshi very effectively, especially because my opponent had all of the blockers out. I think I learned a lot from going first. I do feel pretty good about the matchup still, and at least I had only lost 1 game going into round 3. Going into round 3, I played another Emu Mirror, and this time I just was able to pressure my opponent's board, and it was my turn to Rad Beam. So I was just saving my board as much as I could, and I just don't think my opponent saw, again, enough 4 drops to keep the pressure. I was able to clear because they swung early, and then the barrage of 7Ks hit their life, and it was just pretty tough from there. Especially going second when you're able to have your first turn of having all 5 Elders out and just swinging 7s, it is quite scary. I was pretty healthy at 2 life, and in the mirror, I feel really comfortable at 2. And as long as you're blocking correctly and countering smart, I feel like you can get out of anything pretty easily. Game 4 was Red Green Luffy. I also won the die roll there, went second, and just popped Sanjis over and over again. I think my opponent played 1 Tashigi, which I popped. Then I played another Mars to pop a Sanji. Then I played my Gorosei to pop a Sanji. And by that time, I was still at 3 life. And because the Sanjis were dead, there were no Dawn restanding. So I managed to nullify the leader ability my last turn and take the win. So that's how I got 6 out of 8. The down pairs probably screwed me over because I could have gotten a Tashigi if I got top 4. And I only lost to the first place guy. So how did I get 6th? If we win another round, I'm pretty sure that I would have done pretty well. And because of that confidence, I decided to drive straight to locals. So I went to a 6-man local right after Treasure Cup, and I won. I won all my die roll, so not much to talk about there. I played Zoro in the first round, went second, and didn't get high rolled, which was excellent. I love not getting high rolled by Zoro. I was able to stabilize pretty easily. They only saw 1 Koshiro and no Cavendishes, so there wasn't much to say here. I was just using my leader ability on all of my characters, so he wouldn't feel like that he was getting value out of his characters. Second round, I played an Emu Mirror, and I think my opponent only saw one 4-drop before the Gorosei turns, and it was just really tough to stabilize at that point. I mean, when you're mulliganing pretty aggressively for them, it's unfortunate when you don't find the searchers or the 4-drops to play out. Round 3 was Ace versus Scott. This time, I think I killed him on turn 6 because he was super bricked up in hand. I think he had 2 Whitebeard events, a Roger, and some other bricks in hand that just would not save him at 7 or 8 cards in hand. So I got a little lucky there. Also going first, it's fairly easy to just pop off, kill all the Marcos, kill the 5-cost Yamato, and pray that they don't see enough 10-cost Whitebeards. Now I was really happy with how my Saturday went, which means one thing: change my deck list entirely. I'd been thinking about running Barrier, which is why Barrier is on my screen, for a while, because I've been really struggling being able to protect my bodies in the Emu Mirror. And I thought, hey, Barrier's basically a Rad Beam at 15 cards in trash, and it can protect my board as well. Try it out. So I swapped a Moss Guard and I swapped a Garp event for 2 Barriers. And man, did it go awful. I went to one more Store Treasure Cup on Sunday. I lost every die roll and started round 1 with Ace. The Rad Beams didn't matter. I just didn't see my pieces in time. I think I was missing my Jupiter by the time my 10-cost Elder came down, and it was so awful. Round 2, I played a Zoro. I also lost the die roll and went first. And this time the Barriers did actually come up because I left 5 Dawn open with 4 Rad Beams in hand. It was 2 of the Never Existed event and 2 of my Barriers that I just used to protect my 1 life versus the Leader Zoro and the 9-cost Zoro. So that was pretty terrifying. But my opponent, I think, misplayed and swung the 9-cost Zoro a second time, which means that I was able to chase it with a Nustro on the following turn. Now you're going 7-7 multiple times. I'm starving this Zoro, so there was pretty much no way of my opponent being able to counter out of all of those swings. In round 3, I played another Ace, and that went about as well as my Saturday's Ace opponent, where my Gorosei was my last life. So I was playing with 3 Gorosei, and I was just digging because I wasn't able to search as much in my later turns, maybe turn 5 or turn 6, to try to find my last Elder. I got to the bottom of my deck and realized, shit, it's in life. So I started taking life. Second life, not Gorosei. Third life, not Gorosei, which means the last life was my last Gorosei. There wasn't much I could do. Going first, not seeing all your Elders feels like a huge uphill battle. Round 4 was another Emu Mirror. Like I said, I also lost the dice roll, and wow, did I low roll. Remember how I said I took out a Moss Guard, a Celestial Dragon? Turn 1, I managed to open with a Charlia. Turn 1, I play the Charlia. It searches 3 cards. First one, a Charlia. Second one, a Shirahoshi. Third one, a Barrier. There are now 0 valid targets I can search. Charlia's effect means that I also have to pitch a card from my hand. So I had to discard a card from my hand, and then I was able to use leader ability to thankfully get one back. But I was going into turn 2 with 4 cards in hand, drawing for turn. And that kind of set the mood for the rest of the game because I got washed. I couldn't find my pieces. I think I thankfully drew a Saturn on my 3rd life, but it just wasn't enough in time. And my last life was a Gorosei. So I don't know what happened this past weekend. Maybe it was the Barriers, but I just decided to put all my Gorosei in life. Now, some thoughts at the end of my weekend. I feel like the Ace matchup going first isn't that bad, and it's still not a die roll meta. It is a high roll meta. Not only do they have to high roll you on the dice, they also have to high roll you on the deck. If they can play Marco on 4, then Jozu or Yamato on 6, then the 8-cost Whitebeard event on 8, and then just spam blockers and blockers and blockers and Roger, there's no way I win. But going first and maybe they miss a blocker or they're unable to establish a body on 6, I feel pretty good. I know I lost all 3 of my Ace games going first, but I definitely understand the mistakes that I made and where I can push for more tempo. One of those things I think I can work on is parking my second 10-cost Gorosei on the board without activating the main ability. Now, this asks the ace to red rock me. Please red rock me. Because if you're going to spend 6 Dawn on red rock, so be it. I don't get to see another blocker, and that's really good for me. I just hope that I can draw into another Gorosei. I like the idea of swinging a 12k body on the following turn, and then only using 1 Dawn during that turn to cast my 5 Elders. Hopefully I can get better at doing that. Again, the timing can be pretty specific, but it is something that I want to work on. Looking back on the weekend, I went 4 for 4 in Treasure Cup. I went 3 and 1, and then 1 and 3, plus the bye, but I'm not counting that one. But I don't feel that bad. I feel like that was a pretty decent performance. I think I made a pretty shitty decklist change that threw off my ratios and caused me to whiff a Charlia, but I can't really complain. I was talking with the strongest wizard at DXN on Sunday after we both lost, and he looks over at me and goes, "So often do you think about dropping Emu a day?" And my answer is 0. I never really think about dropping it. It's so much fun. Now, that was before I went ahead and whiffed the Charlia search, and then I watched him whiff a Saturn search. I think he searched 3 Charlias and 2 Moss Guards. Whoa. Oh. Yeah, okay, maybe I'd think about dropping Emu if my searches were always like that. Thinking about the deck list, I think Barrier is fine. In fact, I think I like it a lot. I like having 6 Rad Beams in my deck. And kind of looking forward to OP14. I think Ground Death is another Rad Beam. So I could run 8 Rad Beams. Sure. One of the cards that I think that I'm underrating is Charlos. And I don't remember what I said last week, so it might be time to do some VOD review of that. But I feel like I am finding ways to plant the Charlos such that it makes them waste resources trying to pop it. In the mirror on turn 3, if you drop a Charlos, your opponent has to respond with the Mars if they want value. And that means they're not dropping double 3 drops. I think it's a Jozu target, so I'd rather see the Jozu out than a Rush Yamato. And if they bounce the blocker, then sure, I'll just take a 1k counter back into hand. It means that they don't have Dawn attached to their leader. So I'm okay to swing life. I'm okay to use Equilibrium to pop the Jozu. I have a lot of options. So might be a good bait card to my opponent. I don't think the card is bait in the list, though. I'll probably up it to 1 more. Run it at 3, maybe. That sounds good. I did see that Newbie put out a list on Twitter where he took out the equilibriums and put in the barriers, and then I think also changed around some ratios. So I might try that out. I know OPTCG want to store Treasure Cup with that list, so it's promising. I'll give it a shot. I like barrier. And I think, like I had mentioned earlier, OP14 is on some people's minds, and the big boogeyman in the room is Mihawk. More specifically, the 7-cost Shanks. People are saying Emu is dead, Emu is tier 2, whatever. I just can't wait for the global release because I'm so tired of hearing what's good in the next set and people just looking forward to the next set. I wish people would just enjoy the game right now. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to play Emu until Emu isn't good anymore. And then I'm going to cry about it and find something else fun to play. What's so hard about that? I know the hard thing is that not everybody has fun playing the best decks in the format, and Triangle is a little toxic. I do think that Emu and Ace are a little toxic, so I think printing more counters to beat them is probably good. But for now, just let me enjoy my game. It won't be long. We're releasing so much product all at once that it's honestly a little overwhelming. Digimon was kind of like that, trying to catch up in the global release, and I'm feeling it a little more as we get closer to Global Sync for One Piece. So I just can't wait for it to be over. And I think that's all I had to cover for this week. I know going to locals right after the Treasure Cup was kind of crazy, and low-key, I think that burnt me out for Sunday. But another thing to keep in mind is that I have to play 9 rounds of Emu in Pasadena, and I'm used to 9 rounds of NL. I just turn my brain off, play 1 card a turn, don't care. So I think this was really good practice for me. I do understand my limits. I think my limit's closer to like 7 rounds on Emu in a day before my brain just starts to totally fall apart. We'll see what I can do. One thing that I really do recommend for all you regional preppers out there is do your cardio. I can definitely tell on weeks where I do less cardio, I'm more tired after playing many rounds of card games. I think there's just something about getting your brain to work that cardio just does for you. So do your cardio or not. I know I'm going to need it after this Thanksgiving dinner. I am so looking forward to the holidays, and I hope you guys are too. So enjoy your Thanksgiving. I will see you back next week. Probably a light locals week, I say. I know I have a treasure cup on Sunday. I might go to a local on Saturday. So it could be a short road to regionals. Maybe I talk about how I practice on the day-to-day, not just for regionals, just doing like webcam testing and talking about how I test ratios. So that could be some. My cat is meowing in my bathtub. Lily? 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 My cat wants to eat dinner too. So I'm going to go get her Thanksgiving dinner. Lily? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hi. All right. She's got nothing more to say. So I'm going to go feed her, and I'll catch y'all later. Dinner. Got some dinner? Let's go.